All right, everybody, how we doing? Yeah, okay, come on. I know it's 2:30 in the afternoon and you have a little bit of food coma and a little bit of the tired's because you got up early and you've been running around and listening to some great people, but how are you guys doing? There we go, great. Well, my name is Susan Gotham. I wear two hats every day right now. I am the owner of Gotham Professional Services. We're a recruitment services firm where we identify talent for organizations as well as teach organizations how to identify talent on their own. But more importantly, in the hat that I'm wearing today is I am the NABO Chicago president. NABO is the National Association of Women Business Owners. On a day-to-day basis, I get to represent the over 300,000 women business owners here in the Chicago area alone. Today, we have two individuals that are business owners, as well as we have a banker here from Bank of America. Everybody's going to get to introduce themselves in just a moment. But we're going to give you insights into how you can build your own business and what it's been like for all of us to build our own businesses. And you can learn positives, negatives, what to do and what not to do. So just out of curiosity, while they're micing everybody up, raise or show of hands, who wants to someday own their own agency or business? Keep those high. That's awesome. And don't be afraid. It's a fun journey. I promise that it is. We're going to get started, and what we're going to do right now is everybody is going to get a chance to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start at the end with Lee. He's our man-ambassador. I love this term, man-ambassador. I'm stealing it for NABO.
Creative people came up with...
Right, isn't it amazing how creative people came up with an amazing term? By the way, at NABO Chicago, we do have a man on our board, so no longer is he going to be our eye candy, as he likes to call it. He'll be our man-ambassador. So we'll start with our man-ambassador, Lee.
Hello, everybody. My name's Lee Collada. I'm with Bank of America in our small business and entrepreneurial banking sector. And I've been advising small business owners on topics ranging from financing to employee benefits for, I won't say how many years because that'll tell you how old I am, but I've got a lot of experience in that realm and look forward to sharing some of those experiences with you.
All right, perfect.
Hi,
And I'm going to ask too that you just share a little bit too about your story as well, about like how you got your business started.
Okay, well, my name is Polly Geza, and I'm currently an owner of Chicago Raw, and we make raw vegan food there. But prior to that, what started my career when I was pretty young, maybe 22, is I opened an environmental company that I've owned for 25 years, and we do industrial environmental services all over the United States, but it actually kind of got boring to me, so I went into construction and built a lot of houses, and then when the market crashed, I decided to do this raw food business because I've always been real passionate about health and nutrition, and at the time I had little kids, and I was really passionate about making sure they were eating healthy, and one thing led to another, and you know, every opportunity that always came my way, I was a doer, so I would just do it, and it always worked out, and you know, had a backbone and some courage. So my dad was a big support of that because he always, you know, told me the things that he regretted in life were the things that he didn't do. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And Jenny, you want to tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started?
Sure. My name is Jenny Riccardi, and I run a business called Interior Garden Services. I am a second-generation owner, so I bought the company from my mom. We're actually in a rebranding phase right now to become the IGS Plantscaping Group because we do interior and exterior landscaping, corporate decorating, green walls, green roofs, all of that, and I wanted to encompass that. So I grew up never thinking that I would be part of the family business. I have a MFA in dramatic writing and theater. So, but I always worked at Holiday for my mom because Holiday is really busy and it is required. As a family member, my 9-year-old already works Holiday for me. So, but I was being a freelance writer in my 30s, which is what I thought was my dream. And then I had a kid. And if you guys are freelancers, you know that as a freelancer, you work 60 hours and you get paid for 20 or 30 of those hours. And I was getting tired of that. So I asked my mom for a job as an operations manager. And it was also at the same time she was getting ready to retire. The market had tanked, and so she didn't sell her business. And within a few months of working with her, she said, Jenny, I want to retire. You can buy my business or someone else can buy it. You have 6 months to figure it out. So I decided to buy it because who has an opportunity to buy a business that's been around for 20 years? And as I've owned it, I've changed it much more. Her background was plants. My background is theater and spectacle. So what's been cool for me, besides the fact that I get paid for 60 hours if I work 60 hours, and if other people work 60 hours, I get paid for that too. But what's been cool is that now I have the resources to do really neat things. So I sort of said it feels like graduate school, but people have money. So like we do some scenes out on Michigan Avenue for the Festival of Lights. Next week we're installing a 50-foot artificial Christmas tree at Union Station. So we do the cool things, and it's fun.
Yeah, we're really excited to have Jenny here. It is her busy season. When I got introduced to her, I thought, oh my goodness, it's her busy season, and she's taking time out to be here at this conference. So we're so excited, and I know that 50-foot tree is going to be in Union Station, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be delivered by tomorrow. Well, September. Then it was October. Then it was tomorrow, and now it's next week.
So who likes to decorate a Christmas tree?
Right, I know. If you guys want some extra cash, we have some overnight shifts next Thursday and Friday. We're looking for people. And you probably actually would all be great because you are probably creatives and visuals, so come find me.
Her tweet handle is right up there. Just tweet her, I'm in, I think is what it is. And a lot of people, too, ask me my story about how I started my business as well. Long story short, I've been in the recruiting industry for a significant amount of time. It was actually my way of getting out of retail. And I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My husband and I talked about owning our own business on our first date. I think that's why we should be married. And so it just came to pass, and there was a catalyst moment. I had a client, my biggest client at the time, say, we're going to use you exclusively for this set of requirements next year. I said, great. So I'm starting my own business in 2 weeks. Then I called my husband from the parking lot and told him what I did. So true story. So it is fun to get started. And I say that, if you have that catalyst moment and you're ready to start, just pull the trigger. Don't put a date on the calendar, because that's originally what we did, but I didn't do that. So one of the questions that we want to talk about, I don't know how many of you are familiar with HR 50/50. I am very familiar with it because NABO at a national level was instrumental in getting that legislation passed, because until October 25th, 1988, women could not get a business loan or a line of credit in their own name. They had to have a man do that with them, a male cosigner. It could be their 17-year-old son. It could be an uncle. It could be their husband. It could be their ex-husband. It could be, a wide variety of people, but it had to be a man. And that was only in 1988. Now, that wasn't that long ago, right? So I'm just kind of curious, when, you ladies started your businesses, did you experience any growing pains in regards to trying to get finance, or anything that came back to you that said, where's your husband, where's your son, uncle?
Yeah, with my experience, that was not my experience. Matter of fact, back then my husband was in his 20s, his business partner was in his 20s, there was myself and the other wife that was involved, and they pretty much were like, Polly, go get us a loan. And I was like the salesperson of it all, and they just kind of sat there like mutes, and the guy really liked me and gave us a loan. So from there on forward, I always never really believed that we were at that big of a disadvantage, because in my experiences of business, anytime we needed something done, my business or my husband would be like, Polly, go get this done, He felt like it was an advantage that I was a woman in business. Yeah, so not once.
That's great. How about you, Jenny?
I am just getting my first loans now. I know that my parents, the mortgage was under my dad's name. I know they did a second mortgage on their house so my mom could start her business. I have, it's interesting, my condo is in my husband's name. So the first loan I tried to get was last year for automobiles, and I had not taken out enough loans to get qualified for a car loan. So even though I actually pay the mortgage every month, my husband doesn't pay because it's in his name. I had a lot of trouble, which was really annoying. So now I'm restructuring everything. But I would recommend, if you guys are doing that, find a banker, talk to a banker, and they'll help you change your situation so that it's a little easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, just the way the
Relationships.
global financial system works and how a lot of things are automated, there's just behind the scenes check marks and lending regulations that you would probably have no idea about, and even some bankers probably don't know about them, that can throw a loan completely off its rails. And if you just know a little bit about that ahead of time, you can plan for it and get it done.
Wonderful. What did you all know about finances before starting your business, or how have you learned to manage your finances?
Well, there's this game called Monopoly, and I played it a lot as a child. And, you know, I would pay cash for a lot of things. You know, even if I took loans on things, it was always my priority to keep my credit outstanding. I worked in dealerships and saw how people destroyed their credit early on in life and how it affected them. So that really, I took a mental note of that and just always made sure that as we grew, that we never were, you know, living outside our means and keeping that in check. And it was pretty easy to grow from that.
Well, so I have a different experience. I was actually the CFO. When I worked in theater after my MFA, I worked as a associate general manager of a decent sized theater company. So I got a lot of training in finance, and it was nonprofit finance, which is even better because they audit to the penny on a $2 million budget. So I learned a lot, and I was the CFO for another small company while I was being a freelance writer. And then when I bought the company from my mom, I learned that when it's your own, for me, when it was my own finances, it was completely different. And I don't know why I can't figure things out, like how much income I need, how much we need to sell, if we want to grow this and this. Like, these are not, it's simple algebra, but I can't do it. I cannot do it for my own company. So I did not know that it could be such an emotional, it's just because it's just an emotional thing, right? When it's your own work and your own success. So my lesson was that I know a lot less than I thought I knew.
I would agree completely. I spent 2 years outside of banking running my own business, and all of a sudden when you have to pull the trigger to purchase marketing or make those decisions, it's much more emotional than when you're just playing with someone else's money.
Yes, and I am good at finding money, so I don't know.
Couch, or
I don't
how do you
know. I
find
still
money?
don't know.
Is it like in the plants? Because
I
where
don't-
are you putting your plants?
I don't know, but I know that I'm good at selling these big creative jobs. So all of us, like, there always seems to be both, like the finances show. I just actually hired a consultant because if you look at my P&L, it looks amazing. If you look at my cash flow, like, you know, it's not amazing. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was never the accounting person. I was the one when I had to take accounting in school. I called my dad, who was an accountant. I literally would be on the phone with him, and that was long distance back in the 90s. Dad, walk me through, like, this is what it says in the book. Now, how do I do this? Because I have to turn my homework in tomorrow. So I didn't know anything as well, and I thankfully got some additional training. But before I got that training, I actually sat down with a banker and brought all my income statements, my balance sheets, and everything. I said, explain this to me, you know, walk me through, and then tell me what it is as a banker you're looking for. And I think that was a really great experience to learn and understand, so that when I went to go ask for money, I knew what they were looking for, and I could prepare the right statements and have the right answers. So I think that that's really good. And I'm glad to hear that you're getting a mentor. And I'm sure Bank of America has been helping you as well.
No, they're great.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have an SBA person through BVA, and and I would just say one would be surprised how helpful BVA is for small businesses. I would say it was very unexpected to me. I was going to go to a community bank, BVA really wants to help small businesses grow. So I have a banker, there's an SBA consultant that my BVA guy found for me. He's always finding people for me, and then I'm asking questions like, can I take the mortgage out on my house because I'm sick of paying the mortgage and not getting the credit for it? And the SBA person said, don't do it yet because I want to buy a building for my business. And she said, wait until after that. So they're really helpful.
They are. And I would agree on that as a Bank of America customer and also as a leader of an organization that is highly supported by Bank of America. I would say they're really great with the small businesses or small business loans, and they're going to work hard to get you what you need and give you the right information. And I hope that I'm not making Lee cry down there.
No, I just want to say thank you. Our sponsorship dollars are really working there. This is fantastic. But you did bring something up, and when you talked about Kaveh being able to find our SBA specialist, it's we sponsored a technology incubator called the Bunker for veterans, and one of their main purposes was to help veterans returning into the society build their ecosystem of success because they'd missed out on it. And what you're talking about is an ecosystem of advisors and people that you can go to that will help you out. And a good banker will not just provide an ecosystem with an SBA lender. They might know someone that's horizontally in your market and try to open a door to a supplier or a potential purchaser. And so, those are the recommendations that we're always making to business owners is who can we open doors for? Think about who's in your personal network and how can we introduce our clients or even your friends and family to each other so we can all do business together. And that's not just a Bank of America plug. That's probably more of a, if you're in the entrepreneurship channel, try to think of who can open those doors for you and help you be successful.
Yeah, and there's lots of doors. There are a lot of people out there that want to help you open those doors. So let's flip gears a little because I think everybody wants to hear like more of the TMZ style of owning, right, your own business. So what do you think was your biggest failure or low point in your business, and how did you recover from that?
I mean, part of me, I think we're both going through slight crises.
Yeah.
Like I would say, right, it's not a failure yet. Like I don't think I had a failure as a freelancer, which was that I did not know to pay my quarterly taxes quarterly. So I had to go to the mommy bank for like $11,000 at the end of the year. That was my biggest failure. Here, I went into that thing that said the failure one. It's hard because you get to a point and you can make mistakes, but you can't fail on something. And I know that's antithetical to what what everybody should believe in life because you have to be afraid to fail. But it's like I went to this tree at Union Station is supposed to be installed by Sunday night, and we don't know when we're getting the tree. So yes, and their plan is to have they did $23 million renovation to the Great Hall, and a week from Monday they're having this unveiling and tree lighting, and they're building a big switch, and they're working with the mayor's office and J.B. Pritzker's office to get them to light the tree. So right, I can't fail. Right. You can't. You just can't. So I had to go to the head of Union Station to my client and say, look, Wally, we have a problem. We have 3 solutions. So he said, that's a good way to present a problem is with 3 solutions. So it's like you can fail at one part of a big job, but then you just have to keep working your way to get out.
Yeah, that reminds me of a quote that I have actually. It's a sign that sits on my desk. It says, you never know how strong you are until you have to be strong.
Yeah, I mean, you have to figure out a way out of it.
You have to figure a way out of it. How about you, Polly?
I look at it as an opportunity for growth, It's a learning experience. It's kind of like college on the road. And my kids had the opportunity to go to school and learn everything behind the scenes business. For me, I just opened my own business immediately out of high school because my dad told me that, people go to school to learn what's already in you. And he said, I just don't think this is the right fit. I mean, you're ready to rock and roll with a business. So I kind of followed his lead. I did this. And there weren't a lot of things that I failed at because I knew that you do the due diligence. And if you do your research and if you're buying things, 3 prices, you always get your head involved in the project at a deep level, then you'll find you'll leave less room for making mistakes. Probably the current thing that they're hinting to is in my business in the city, I've had a business partner that was unfortunate, was found out stealing, So I had to kind of grow a real big backbone and fire. And I never really expected running this business on my own. I have a commercial kitchen, I have multiple retail locations, and everyone that was around me are such good people. And they all said, trust me, it sounds scary, but at the end of the week, you'll be so grateful because you're gonna see how much growth she was sucking you dry. And I mean, in a week's time after the firing, it's like, I feel so free because I can make decisions and I know that I'm the only one that's in control of my business and there's not somebody running around randomly, running up my charge cards or stealing money. And I never knew that I was building anxiety inside me. It's like I sensed something was going on and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then finally for it to be brought to the table, my daughter's 24 and she works with the business now. She was very strategic and, you know, getting all these recordings to prove all the stuff that was going on. And I'm glad that, you know, at least she was there to kind of bounce things off, but she's kind of filling this person's shoes now. And she, you know, said, Mom, you can't run a business when somebody's just sucking you dry. You can't just be a good sport. You know, you want to be good to people. I don't want to see somebody, I realize people get in bad times, you know, but I realized I needed to be a steward to this business. If it wasn't for me ending things and getting rid of her, and everything I did strategic in firing her, locking up, Bank of America worked with me, locking up all of our accounts. She showed up at one of the banks trying to just take all the money out. I mean, the employees wouldn't have their paychecks. I mean, just crazy stuff. So I know now, this is the second time in life I can say that anytime that you are faced against something that's going to take courage, you're always rewarded. You know, you have good intent and you're honest. And I knew going into this firing, I had one other situation in life where I kind of felt like I needed to have courage, and that's when, after being married 25 years, I married the first guy out of high school, and after being married that long, then I knew I had to go on my own way. And that was hard because he made me believe like I was not going to be able to do this without him when actually I'm better. But the same kind of strategy with my ex-business partner, you know, she would strategically say things through the years that made me believe that I couldn't do things without her when I was the one that made all the money to pay for the business, to grow the business. You know, she was an artist in our business. She had talent with food, but it was a good lesson. It was good for my kids to see. And I pretty much kind of just, when I'm faced against really bad situations like that, I take myself to the worst case scenario. And if you can immediately accept the worst case scenario, then work your way back. The worst case scenario is typically not going to happen, right? So if you can accept that, that puts you at calm. And then go to your problems that you have and start addressing them. Know that you're going to land somewhere there. And none of it's going to kill you, you know. What can people take from you? You know what I mean? You're still standing.
It's just money, right?
Yeah, it's just money. I mean, honestly, that's all it is. I mean, I live a purposeful life, not a life that is jaded or going after only money.
I thought of something.
Uh-oh, Jenny thought of something.
A
All right.
huge failure that actually might be more applicable to everybody here, which is that I failed as a writer. Like, I went to graduate school, I have an MFA in playwriting. I wanted to be a writer, a dramatic writer. People I graduated with are writing for Marvel, they're writing for A&E, they're writing for, they're producing Battlestar Galactica. They're being very successful. And I still have the 2 unfinished plays that I want to finish, but I like to say I gave it up because I needed to support my family, but we can also say that I completely failed at that. Like, that was my creative drive, that was my creative dream, and I failed. But what I did do was I found a place which was, okay, I need a job, and then, oh, this job can become this, and then, okay, I have to manage this business, but because I could do this, and this, and this, and these things are all really creative. So I'm more of like a visual creative storyteller now, which is not at all where I thought I would be, but it's really hard to be a creative person and get paid for it. It's really, really, really hard. And there's, you know, sometimes you can do it, but it's gonna be a winding path to get there.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Speaking of that, what keeps you up at night? Like, what is the thing in your business that's like, oh,
Well, I had a bad employee situation recently. Now I take Benadryl every night before I go to sleep, to be honest. So nothing keeps me up at night. Isn't is approved by my doctor. But yeah.
What is that last thought then before you go to sleep?
It's when is the Union Station tree getting?
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
Nothing really keeps me up at night. In all honesty, I live a very purposeful life. I get up every day at 4:30 in the morning. I don't make excuses for working out. I work out every day. I apply myself to my fullest. And when I get to lay on my bed, it's like, I'm done. So I do hear of people that have problems staying up, whether it's problems that are worrying them. But I feel if you're giving yourself all day long, 100%, you're wiped out. The pace that I go, I've never had any sleep problems. Sure, there's always something you might be concerned about. But one day I was walking down the street and this lady stopped me and she wanted to know what time it was. She was like 95 years old. And I told her and she grabbed my hand. She says, "Can I tell you something?" I was like, "Yeah, what?" She says, "Everything I worried about in life worked out in the end."
Oh.
So she says, "What I'm here to tell you is everything works out." So you have to follow your gut. You have to follow your intention, be true to yourself, and it always works out. Like I found that, like there's nothing I'm bitter about in life. The divorce, I'm not even mad at my business partner. Whatever reason she decided to do, I don't know, it's not my problem. I did not do that. I'm moving on. So it's like, don't carry that baggage with you, let it roll off your skin. Just move on.
Though we each have our own brand that we're trying to create, what is a brand or a company or something that you aspire to be like?
I can tell you I have website envy of you right now, Polly. I was telling them, because I bought a company and most of my business is referrals. We haven't redone our website in like 20 or 30 years, but since we're rebranding now, I was looking at everybody's website. I was like, oh, I love that website.
Oh, thank you, my daughter. That's my daughter. I can't lie. A company that I really aspire. I mean, I really, I get a kick out of reading about companies, like these young kids that came out with this nutrition bar. The marketing of that is so powerful. However, they rocked it in a short time. They made all this money. I'm sure you saw what is it, like 3 egg whites, 3 this, 3.
The RX
yeah,
bars.
that's really amazing. I encourage kids like that are just, they followed their heart and went after something and they made it happen. They're doers versus people that just talk about it. And if you're a doer, the opportunity's out there for everybody to be successful.
Yeah. I would add on to that as, you each have your own companies. I get to see unlimited numbers of entrepreneurs on a regular basis, and it's fun to go in and see them on day one. There's one person, 12 months later, there's 10, and 24 months later, there's 24 people, and you just see this American dream just taking off.
So cute.
And then you see an exit from a company, and we're not just talking about tech, there are all sorts of industries, and it's just a really exciting thing to see in Chicago is that there's a lot of people that leave a large corporation, they take one client with them, and they build off of that one client, and they're able to create a company off of their capabilities and their connections in the city, and so it's a really exciting thing. And that's going on every day downtown Chicago.
Every day in all of Chicago.
Yes, all over, sorry.
And nationwide too, in case you're wondering, 12.3 million women business owners in the country.
Wow.
That employ 8 million people and put $1.2 trillion back into the economy. So go women.
Just for the record, 40% of our small business clients are women-owned businesses.
Yes.
Wow.
40%.
Wow.
Yes. So women, by the way, women are typically the catalyst of change in a down economy. Small businesses will be started by women and will turn around the economy. Speaking of economy and being here in Chicago, for those of you who aren't from Chicago, Chicago is very highly regulated. What are some policies or regulations that just have kind of made you hit a wall or hit your head against a wall, or you would just love to get rid of that would make your business so much easier?
I think that it makes us sound bad to complain about them, but I did
Yeah.
just today write an email to the city planning department because they're trying to change the PMD, which is the Planned Manufacturing District in the Kinsey corridor, because they're trying to change developers are trying to change the zoning because the development's moving west and there's lots of small businesses in that area. So as I was writing the email explaining why it's so important, I was thinking there's a lot of aldermen. There's a lot of problems in small business, a lot of problems in the city, and everybody has really big challenges. There's a lot of aldermen who are trying to help a certain group of people and blaming business for lots of their problems. And I don't know. There's a struggle. That kind of stuff really bothers me. There's like the days off, the work,
Oh, yes.
the sick time. And
For those of you that don't know, in Cook County specifically, which is where Chicago is, we have a law that says that every employee now gets sick pay days, which is great, right? It's great for the employees, but on the flip side of that, there's some high administration behind that.
And my people get more than that.
Yeah.
If you've been with me for over a year, you get a lot more than that. But like my husband, he runs a business teaching swimming, and he has all of these instructors who are in their 20s and who get sick on the weekends and don't come in to teach classes. And stuff like that really gets on my nerves. So I feel like I sound like a bad business owner.
Yeah, no.
But I don't like that kind of regulation.
It's been a challenge. For those of you who don't know the Chicago landscape, it's been a challenge because it's a county ordinance, it's a city ordinance, but some suburbs or townships within the county have decided to opt out. So you could be in one part of Cook County and not have to do that, in another part you do. So that is a huge challenge here.
For me, as far as like challenges with that, would be dealing with the health department because I'm in the food business. And, sometimes you get somebody that is there to do their job, and then you come across the people that are just going to be difficult because they can in that position. So people kind of, push in their power, I guess, around just because they had a bad day or something. So there's a lot of things I hear with other restaurant owners too, it just depends on who's inspecting you or whatever. But with the kind of food that I prepare, there's a lot of nuts, seeds, juices, nothing's pasteurized. And it's a struggle in this country that all these products, in the grocery stores are pasteurized. And when it's pasteurized, things are cooked at high heats and you're depleting all the nutritional value of the food. And then you come along with a business like my own where you're offering super high nutrient food that's not been pasteurized or adulterated, and it can only fuel a person's immune system. And then they want to crack down on us, like we're the enemy. Like go ahead, like they were trying to go after the almond farmers because of supposedly salmonella maybe getting in these almonds. It's like, I don't think it's the almonds. Have you heard of White Castle? McDonald's. But yeah, so those are always the challenges with us, but you work through it, They always seem to come around, but they just kind of drag you through the mud a little bit till you're about exhausted and then get you willing to pay a little fee here and there. Then they disappear for a while.
So apparently I need to go vegan. I work for a very highly regulated industry, finance. We have unlimited number of auditors. And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm just happy you didn't say Bank of America or finance, it makes me happy, would equally complain about the banking sector as challenges. But it's really, upon us to follow those guidelines. So what I would advise all entrepreneurs is to just really make sure you have your financial packages together, your business tax returns, your personal tax returns, have your personal financial statements ready to go, your financial statements, the income statement, your balance sheet, because that will make your life just so much easier, whether you're coming to a bank for credit or, more importantly, a community development financial institution, which will help with very early stage businesses, get you off the ground where traditional financiers might not step in. And so just understanding anytime you're dealing with finance, it's probably not necessarily going to be the most pleasurable time of your day, but if you have all the information for your finance professionals ready to go, it'll make their jobs easier, which will make your lives much easier.
And also having that good relationship. I know that our experience with our financial people that we deal with, we have really great relationships. And one of the things that they do is they prepare us for the worst, and then we get the best outcome. So they ask us for a lot, and they tell us why they're asking for whatever document it might be. And then at the end, it all ends up working out very well because we're very well prepared and they've walked us through the process.
For the record, I also complain when I do loans and have to submit my own financial information, so it's universal.
But I just want to say too, if you're in Chicago, there's a lot of resources to help you with things like regulations or laws, or if you want to become WBE certified, there's community organizations, women organizations.
Like NABO.
NABO, like I belong to the Industrial ICNC, which is the Industrial Council of, I think it's Northwest Chicago, but it's in the Quincy Industrial Corridor, and there's so many people there you can just call. You can say, hey, what do I have to pay my people? Hey, what kind of vacation do they need? All that kind of stuff.
Yep, and as a part of the HR 50/50, when that launched 30 years ago, that also launched the Women Business Development Centers. Those are in concert with the Small Business Administration, and those are now, they're opening more and more. They used to be only in very large populations. Obviously, we have one here in Chicago, but they're opening more and more based on demand. So whether you're here in Chicago or you're anyplace else in the United States, there are these places where you can get really great information as a woman business owner. Or
you have to call them.
Yeah.
Like I've tried a couple times to get help from the WBDC, and it's a big organization. So it took me a few tries to figure out who to talk to.
Yep.
And I wound up getting in touch with a board member who took me in to meet all the people, and then they told me this person, and then you just have to keep going, because sometimes you'll go to the big convention and it won't be helpful, so it'll be frustrating. But if you just keep making phone calls, they're there to help you and they want to help you. They just need to know you exist, the right person.
And can I say something
Yeah.
before you guys end this? You know, there's so many guidelines and suggestions and things by the bank that are in place for people to open businesses, but I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to be part of the masses. I can't think of anything I did orthodox. It's all unorthodox. Like I went off the charts. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to a bank at first for a loan. You know what I mean? I did everything against the odds. And if there's a will, there's a way. So don't feel when they give you all these lists, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
I remember going to these business meetings when we were starting. I was just like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm like, we're going to do it my way. You know, and you know you're in charge of your destination. Ultimately, it could be a matter of just changing up who you're talking to, and all of a sudden things start falling in place. So don't get discouraged by all the stuff people dish out to you. I never had a business plan. I said, if I stay home for a year, write a business plan, I'm not going to have a business.
Yeah.
You know, I got to just get working. So, you know, I mean, yeah, it's probably a good idea to have a business plan, but don't let things get in your way from being successful and moving forward and following your passions.
Yeah. Okay, so we're really short on time, so we're going to wrap this up real quickly, but I'm going to make each one of you just quickly say the best piece of business advice you were ever given that you kind of still hold on to and you'd like to share with others.
Mine is, like, as a CEO or whatever you're doing, know what your ego demands and be okay with that. So, and if your ego demands you to put up a 50-foot trading station and you can't do the finances, find someone to do the stuff that your ego doesn't demand you do, because you won't do it, and then the health of what you're doing will fail.
Oh, geez, I don't know. There's so many things I think of, but I would just say, you know, some of the most important things is that first initial step. You know, it's really hard to decide. Like, I remember like going, so are we in business? Because I declared it. You know what I mean? Literally just going out the door, start the process. All the other information that takes to run a business, to start a business will follow. Just start the process. And at first it feels like you have nothing. You're just like doing some motions. But once you start, you know, landing maybe a first job or a first, you know, whatever you're working in, you know, position that you're selling something or doing a service, everything follows. And there's millions of things that'll need to be done along the road, but not everything has to be done that first day. It's really knowing that you're in it, and then you're moving forward, even if it feels like you're faking for a second. But it'll all go forward.
Well, I don't know if it's good advice, but I always thought it was funny. An ounce of image is worth a pound of performance. So just look good.
Awesome. And I always give this piece of advice: get out of your own way.
Yeah.
always just get out of your own way. So unfortunately, that is our time. We want to make sure that you're able to get on to your next events. Two things. First of all, thank you to Bank of America for sponsoring this room, the event, as well as us, and being supporters of us and our businesses and organizations. And if we are available for questions, definitely feel like you can come ask us about our journeys and how we can be resources for you. We're going to be moving ourselves to the Bank of America VIP Lounge, I believe, which is right up in the Lakeside Terrace. So I feel like you can come join us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.